Hey guys, welcome back. This is I think it's part 4 of the Zend framework mini-series. In the last video, we went ahead and created our database and also the albums model. So now what we want to do is we want to interact with that model, with the database. Okay, and we want to list all of our albums. So what we're going to do, let's go back to our documentation here, and we want to be right here. It says now that the service manager can create an album table instance, we can add a method to the controller to retrieve it. So we want to go into the album controller. Okay, so let's go to source, album controller. Alright, now we need to add this method right here, get album table. So let's copy that. And we're going to go ahead and put that down at the bottom here, just like that. And let's see, we're going to grab the album table and return it. Alright, now we also want to add protected album table as a property, so let's copy that, and this is going to go up here just like that. And then to list albums, we need to, in our index action, we're going to grab this. So we're going to be doing the same thing. We're returning the view model, except we're adding in some data. We're going to send along the albums, which is coming from fetch all, which is in the album table. All right, if we take a look at model album table, we have fetch all. Okay, it's going to return the result set. So let's see, we'll save that, and then let's go. Now we're going to go to our index view. Okay, so view album index, and let's just copy this whole thing. Alright, now we'll go through it a little bit. We're setting some variables, a title. This is going to be the heading with the title. Let's see, it's going to have a button to add a new album, and right here we're just using the URL helper. Alright, it's just pointing to the album ad. And then we have a table with title and artist. And then what we're doing here is we're looping through the albums using a for each loop. Now this albums right here is coming from this. Alright, we're loading that view and we're passing in the albums, and then we're just simply looping through it with a for each. And then we're going to output the table rows. We have the title here, we have the artist, and we're escaping it. We're using the escape HTML function here. And then we have a link to edit, okay, again using the link helper. You don't have to use this. You could just have just a regular album / add or edit, whatever. And it's also going to pass in the ID because we need to know which one we're editing. Same thing with delete. Alright, so let's go ahead and save that, and let's take a look. Okay, so we're getting an error, class album result set not found. Now the reason for this is because we need to include a couple things in our module.php file. Alright, so let's see, in addition to this stuff, actually let me see, does it say it in the documentation? Doesn't look like it. Huh. Yeah, it doesn't tell us. Anyways, I'm sure it says it somewhere, but we're going to want to just add some stuff in here. So let's say use Zend /db /result set db result set / result set. Okay, we also need our table gateway. Let's see, Zend /db /table gateway /table gateway. And I think that's it. Let's save that. And there we go. Look at that. We have all of our albums listed that's in the database. Awesome. So we can list them now. We can list albums. Now what we want to do is be able to add them. Okay, so if we click add, we need a form here. Let's go back to the documentation. And this is styling and transitions. I don't think we really need any of this. So let's skip on to forms and actions. Alright, now there is a form helper that we can use. Basically, we need to go into our album module and create a form file. Alright, so inside of, let's see, album source form, we need a file named albumform.php. Alright, so we'll save that as albumform.php, and then we're going to grab everything here and paste that in. Okay, so what we have is a class called albumform, and then we have a constructor, and inside there we are creating the different fields. Okay, so this is for the ID field. This is a hidden type. Then we have the title. This is a text field, and you can add options such as a label. Here we have the artist field, which is also text, and then we have our submit button. Alright, so this stuff is all created here. So let's save that. And then what we want to do, let's see. We also need to set up validation, input filter. Excuse me. Now we need to go to our model and then album PHP. And let's just copy this whole thing here. Alright, and what we're doing here is we're loading our model up, and we're also doing some validation. Okay, so we're using the input filter. Okay, we do set input filter, and then we have get input filter. Alright, so basically what we're saying here is that the ID is required. Okay, it needs to be there, and then also it has to be an integer. Alright, so we have required in our filters. For the artist, same thing, it's required, and we have strip tags and string trim. Okay, so that's just going to clean it up a little. And then in the validators, we're saying that it has a minimum of 1 character and then a max of 100 characters. Alright, so that has to do with the string length. For the title, same thing. We're just cleaning it up, and then we're setting it between 1 and 100. Alright, so that's how we can do validation with Zend. So let's save that. And let's see what else we have here. Now we need our controller action. Alright, so if we go back to album controller, we have this add action. Alright, let's see. I don't think we're including the model yet. No. So we need to add these. Alright. And then in the add action, let's just copy this whole thing. Alright, and we'll replace this. Okay, so what we're doing is we're creating a new instance of album form, and then we're checking to see if the form was actually submitted with isPost. If so, we're going to create a new album instance. We're going to run our validation with set input filter. We're going to set data, and then we're going to make sure everything's okay and it's valid. Then we want to call exchange array from the model, and then the get album table, and then save album. Okay, so it's going to create a new instance of the album, and then it's going to save it to the database, and then here we're going to redirect to our album controller. Okay, so let's save that, and let's see, this just explains everything that I just said. And then finally we need the view, which is the form itself. So in our add.phtml, we want to add this stuff. Okay, so let's go down there, add, and we'll paste that in. Okay, so this is basically just setting up the form. We're creating, in our form, we have our hidden ID, we have the title, the artist, and the submit button. Alright, This here will create an open form tag. This will create a closed form tag. And then up here we're setting where we want this to go. We want it to go to the add action. Alright, so let's save that and let's check it out. Okay, so there's our form. It's not too pretty, but that's fine. So let's see what this does. So title, we'll say my new album, artist, we'll say sample artist, and add. Okay, so now we have my new album and sample artist. So we can now add albums to our application. So in the next video, we're going to take care of our edit and delete functionality. Alright, so I will see you then.